Coming up on Street Hospital.
I've never really experienced something like this before.
Now, I just want to confirm she hasn't fallen down, hurt herself.
I can't believe there's only 3 of us.
He's claiming that he's taken 20 sleeping tablets.
No.
All over New Zealand, the weekend's the time to hit the town and hit the booze.
He said he's had about a litre of vodka.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hitting it hard and each other. Some party animals are getting boozed, getting hurt, and they're clogging the emergency departments.
They end up lining the corridors and trolleys, waiting to sober up.
Wellington Free Ambulance paramedics are fighting back. On Friday and Saturday nights, ambulances parked in Wellington's party zone become makeshift hospitals. At the street hospital base, paramedics treat the injured where they can, on the spot.
Thank you, Mr. Paramedic.
Typical Wellingtonians, very friendly.
Will they make a difference to the binge drinking culture in central Wellington? Can they stop the smashed and trash piling into the hospital's emergency department? And how will our paramedics cope, keeping a straight face when everyone else is off theirs?
You coming to town with us?
Student medic Charlie, the mother of 2 small boys, is part of tonight's tiny team.
Instead of being 5 here, there's 3 tonight. There was 2 drivers, so 1 vehicle each.
In the other driver's seat making up tonight's trio, volunteer Elizabeth is hoping for a quiet night. Nothing too taxing.
I work for Inland Revenue. I'm a community compliance officer. Some tax investigation work as well. So the reason I'm volunteering for Wellington Free is because it's something different. I still get to get out into the community and just doing my bit for the place that I live.
The rest of the team will arrive later on, so Elizabeth, Charlie and Craig are it for the time being. Craig and Charlie set out on patrol and leave Elizabeth holding the fort.
They've left me here at the base on my own just to look after things. Absolutely fine being here. I've worked quite a bit on my own and just my experience over the last 5 years, I've got no problems being here at all.
As town starts to fill up, Elizabeth, an experienced street hospital medic, is confident she's ready for all situations. Well, maybe not all.
Pea bear and bubble squeak. How old are you girls? 2.5, roughly about 30, 40 years old, human. So, yeah, they're old enough to get into a club. Oh, look at that. She's grooming herself to she's making herself look nice for the guys around town.
Just completely had to walk away from that man because I just couldn't stand looking at his rats. I didn't want to hold his rats. I've got a bucket load of time for people, but just not rats. Yeah, not rats.
Up the road, Craig and Charlie have overheard an emergency call in their area. They'll meet up with a frontline ambulance dispatched to the scene. The area is swarming with students, but police direct Craig and Charlie to the correct building.
Street hospital comms.
The frontline paramedics arrive moments later.
She said she'd had some vodka and that was it. She just said she went outside and this guy gave her something.
A guy gave her something?
Yes. He came up to her and offered her and said, would you like a drink? And then she said, because she was drunk, she's like, yes. She's only 17. She just went on the toilet and she just passed out.
Why she's passed out is yet to be determined, but it's lucky someone found her and called an ambulance when they did.
First thing you do is obviously check the airways and the breathing, your ABCs, and then check how responsive she is. So she wasn't very responsive to pain, which is quite unusual.
The girl will need to be closely monitored. If she has been given a date rape type drug, the consequences can be serious, even down to coma and death. Craig and Charlie head back to base where Elizabeth is treating another patient.
The guy is in the pub is punching me in my face.
We need to get your lip pushed back together, and that needs to be done with glue or stitches. And I can't make that decision because it depends what the hospital are going to say about it. Are you in any pain? Do you need any pain relief for that?
No, really,
No, that's okay.
Because I'm fight in the ring in Italy, so it's normal for me, but I can see my face now because I don't have the mirror in the toilet.
Sure.
Elizabeth's been coping on her own so far, but with partygoers starting to pack into Courtney Place, accidents are just waiting to happen. Craig and Charlie arrive back in time to see Elizabeth's next patient hobble in.
This gentleman Apparently he was dancing in a bar and has rolled his ankle, but it sounds like he's had a history of rolling and fracturing ankles.
I've rolled it probably over 100 times in my life, and that's why it doesn't swell up anymore. I've broken this one. It's got 2 screws and a plate.
Thank you. You got a nice healthy heart rate. So.
What was my heart rate?
It was 63.
Is that high, bro?
No, it's good. It means you're quite fit. In a healthy way. He likes to play a bit of football, and he's just come to get it checked up, get it strapped, get some pain relief so he can go home and play all right tomorrow.
Things are picking up. There's a job near the waterfront.
I'll finish the paperwork. You take Charlie.
Leaving Elizabeth running Street Hospital on her own.
I can't believe there's only 3 of us.
That quiet start they were hoping for is not going to happen.
Somebody called an ambulance.
He's just over here. We found him as we were walking past.
Yeah. Is he like vomiting or anything like that?
I think he just shat himself.
Oh, that is a lot of vomit.
Get a little bit to drink tonight, mate. We can take you back to our triage base and sort of do some assessments down there. My concern is for your safety, nothing else.
If we drop the assessment,
yes,
get me home quickly.
No, we're not a taxi.
Charlie calls the man's wife.
He's vomited all over himself, and he's also pooed himself as well. The trouble is, it's quite unlikely that a taxi will take him. The wife sounds a bit intoxicated as well. She's going to come down in a taxi.
Okay.
And then she'll find a way for him to get home. Oh dear, oh dear.
It's the only blanket we've got.
Just goes to show it's not only the young ones, eh?
It's very kind.
We're just trying to give you a bit of dignity, mate, all right?
Just saw him just lying on the bench. See if we can get him in a taxi, but then he sort of just didn't really get any better and started throwing up more and other stuff, and then just we're like, yep, probably can't deal with this ourselves, so just decided to call an ambulance.
Elizabeth's still on her own at Street Hospital when a frantic young woman rushes in.
My friend is really numb. She's sitting down with my friend just across from my step. Over there.
Let me grab some gear and I can come over and have a look.
It looks like Elizabeth will have to lock up and go with the girl until second-year student Braden appears. The rest of the team starting to arrive in the nick of time.
Oh, great. Take that. Are you here on your own?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll get you to go with this young lass here.
Yep.
It's just one of her friends is feeling a wee bit numb outside this stair.
Braden has to hit the street running. Numbness can be a sign of many things, including an allergic reaction, nerve damage or drug use.
I need to know if you can walk.
This level of numbness doesn't usually happen after just drinking alcohol. It might indicate drugs are involved, which could make it the second case of drink spiking for the night.
All right, where's that numbness now?
You see intoxication enough to know the difference between a drunk patient and a drugged patient.
She's had 4 Midori's in the hole, then she's come down, she's had another random person's drink, including it's been spiked. Pupils are slow and reactive. Is that numbness spreading now, is it?
Yes, everywhere.
It's everywhere. Is that breathing starting to bother you a little? Yeah. Do you feel like it's your asthma flaring up?
She could have the potential to crash really quickly.
I'm just scared. It's okay.
You're all right. You're in a very safe place.
The wife of the drunk man has turned up at the waterfront with a sober driver friend.
Look after yourself, all right? Hope you don't feel too horrible in the morning.
He's going to feel like shit in the morning.
Certainly smells like. He'll probably be quite embarrassed in the morning, I would imagine. So, but we don't judge.
Back at Street Hospital, the patients keep coming.
And she's completely non-coherent. Eyes roll back.
Okay, stand by. Can I dispatch you to another job? I'll finish paperwork. I know the history here. Thank you. I'll be right with you guys.
This will be the second time Braden's flown solo tonight. But then Brendan arrives. He's a fully trained paramedic and the clinical educator at WFA.
Do you want to jump in?
Yeah.
Braden leaps aboard and they head off to find the girl.
In the last sort of 5 minutes, we've got really, really busy. Things have got hectic. Charlie and Craig are still off dealing with their patient, so I'm very, very grateful that our crew's slowly trickling in.
Braden and Brendan spot the new patient just metres up the road. surrounded by concerned and quite vocal friends.
Now, I just want to confirm she hasn't fallen down and hurt herself. She hit her head?
Yeah.
Okay. Like here or somewhere else?
At the bathroom and stuff.
She did it out here as well.
Getting a good handle on what's actually happened to the girl, Alice, the medics now need to work out whether it's the alcohol that's making her unresponsive or the head trauma. Back at base, Braden hands Alice's case over to 28-year-old Nick, a second-year paramedic student who has just arrived.
We will reassess to see whether or not we need to go down the alcohol intoxication guideline. So give her some fluid therapy and some dextrose to try to bring her state up.
In the next-door ambulance, the numb girl's friends are wondering if her drink was spiked, who could have done it, and why.
Okay, for some reason, because he always seemed like a bad guy. Yeah, like, if we did what we got out of it because he left, it's like he stayed with us. Yes. Because people do it, so I think take advantage of people that usually stay with you.
Whether her drink has been interfered with or not, she's not improving. The medics are concerned, so Braden calls for a frontline ambulance. The numb girl will be taken to hospital for observation. Next door, Alice, the girl with the suspected head trauma, is improving and sobering up. Nick and Brendan have decided she's well enough to go home with her friends.
Thank you so much for your help.
No problem.
If they thought things were busy before, the medics are about to get deluged. With more and more punters rolling in, Party Central is filled to bursting.
Whereabouts is he?
Across the road at the establishment.
With everyone else out or busy, the job's been dropped on Braden again.
Hey mate, my name's Braden. I just want to have a quick chat, man.
Off and get my muscles. Off and get my... I'm not that shit thing. Bitch. Yeah!
The very angry and recently rejected young man doesn't want to be treated. Braden's going to have to use more than clinical skills to convince the man he needs help.
I love my missus, and I've been trying to follow around all night.
Do you want to just come have a seat down by the ambulances? We can have a chat about what's going on. There's quite a bit of blood.
Yep.
How'd this happen?
The bouncer just choked me out, bro. He dropped me on the floor.
You didn't land on any glass, did you?
No, I landed on the concrete, bro, on the foot paving.
How long were you knocked out for, bro?
Probably about 3 seconds, bro.
About 3 seconds.
I come to, and next minute, bro, people were trying to pick me up.
There's a woman standing sort of in our triage area, waiting to be seen by one of us. But we just have some high priority patients, so I've just explained to her that be there as soon as I can.
The woman will wait while Braden attends to the jilted young man.
You're not feeling dizzy at all, like you're going to be sick? Clench your teeth? And there's a decent laceration. It's probably about 8 centimetres long. If you don't get stitches in that, you run the risk of getting quite a bad infection that'd go straight to the brain.
I stitched my own pit dogs up.
But you've also been knocked out, and that's pretty serious for us. We need to get checked out and observed for a couple of hours up in ED.
My missus, bro, I wasn't her there. She looks after my child. I love her to death, bro. She's been a slut in the club. Bitch, I say I'm a piece of next minute, bro, I'm in court again.
You get this sorted out, gives you a chance to clear your head.
I want to end my life. I'm over it.
There's no need for
I'm
that.
over it, bro.
You have a long life ahead of you, bro. You're young.
I do, cuz.
You're
I
smart.
do, bro. But there's nothing to live for.
There's nothing Braden can say that'll persuade the heartbroken young man to go to ED.
He was adamant just trying to go find his girlfriend, so it's his choice in the end. I don't want you to upset anyone or cause any disturbances, mate. Really need you to think about it, all right, mate? Howdy. So sorry.
As Braden finally gets to the woman who's been waiting for 10 minutes, there's another interruption. A partygoer comes in bleeding.
Crikey.
Braden's at last able to deal with the woman who's been waiting in pain for 10 minutes. But more and more patients keep turning up.
Crikey.
So I've just fallen over and I've come from...
Elizabeth,
Can you please deal with cut? I'm dealing with pain. How long have you been passing blood for? Was it just today you noticed it, or has it been going on for a bit? How long's a bit? 3 months. Have you seen your GP about it?
My GP's in back north.
haven't been feeling dizzy or nauseous, wanting to vomit?
I wanted to vomit before.
Yeah.
Before I came here.
Yeah. And just asthma's the only feel like you're going to vomit now? You could potentially be having a GI bleed going on. A GI bleed is a gastrointestinal bleed, so bleeding within the stomach or the intestines. And you can't sit down really.
No, standing's the most comfortable position for you. I'm so sorry that we couldn't get an ambulance. Okay, I'm going to try and hail a cab. With the hammering we've had tonight, the fastest way for some of these patients to get up to Eden and get seen is going to be via taxi or private transport.
But there's a hitch.
She has no money, nothing. Right. Oh, this is difficult. Excuse me, mate. No. Hey, mate. You able to take someone up to ED for me? He was really kind-hearted, really willing to take up the patient and support us, especially when we're so stretched. Any complications on the way? Call 111. Thank you, man. Oh.
In amongst the chaos, Elizabeth finds not every case is a matter of life and death.
I've come from Hawke's Bay. There was quite a lot of people in Wellington town tonight. I've never really experienced something like this before. There was a bit of an incident. I got pushed down. Yes, I'm okay.
Can you put a plaster on my knee, please?
There you go, my friend. Sort of. With blood. We had a couple of women tonight that had fallen over. One of them was bleeding, the other one wasn't, but felt sort of a wee bit sort of left out and also wanted a plaster.
Nick's been called to an intoxicated girl just over the road from the street hospital base. The girl, Isabel, had been lying on the footpath alone where a female passerby found her.
Do you feel like you can walk with some help?
Now Isabel's boyfriend has turned up and wants to take her home. The helpful passerby, however, on the left, thinks Nick should do a proper assessment first.
Sorry, you are? I'm the person who Yeah. Are you a nurse or? Okay, no worries. Are you? Yeah. Did some of our vital signs, blood pressure, pulse, oxygen saturations, things like that. Just to tick all the boxes, check for anything kind of insidious or that we've missed.
How do we know that you're a safe person for her to be going home?
Yeah. Do you know him?
You know that she's not in a state to answer that.
She knows. She can recognize it.
That's bollocks.
The female passerby is reluctant to leave Isabel.
Ma'am, can I just get you to join me outside? I just want to have a quick chat with you.
Why do you have to do this all the time? I don't understand. How many times have we had this conversation? No, look at this. If we don't think you wouldn't do this. No, my parents are coming to
Outside, the female passerby is very insistent. She thinks the boyfriend shouldn't be there. Elizabeth asks the boyfriend to step outside for a chat.
You probably don't remember me. We don't know each other, but I just found you on the street.
Does she get drunk like that often?
Not like that.
Is everything all right in her life at the moment? She's not getting drunk for any particular reason or anything out of the ordinary?
No.
Okay, I'm a strong, independent woman. No! Is it nice to have a little touch? A little bit of touch? That's okay? That's nice. Alright.
Things are getting a bit confusing. Paramedic Braden is called in.
I understand there's a few issues with like bystanders or partners or confusion around that. Who's your partner?
You know what?
Yeah?
I don't give two shits.
Well, you should do. What I want to make sure is when you leave here that you are safe.
Harrison and Charlie have gone out on patrol, but they don't get too far before they need to call in.
We've just come across a male patient. He's claiming that he's taken 20 sleeping tablets roughly 3 hours ago.
I'll send Craig down to pick him up if that's okay.
Craig soon spots Charlie and Harrison on the side of the road. Harrison and the sleeping pill man jump in the back and they drive back to base.
How long have you been on?
For the last 2.5 years.
Okay.
Craig calls ahead while Harrison keeps the patient talking to find out his history.
Pressure, upper pressure, not sleeping, arthritis, appetite, 2 days ago.
He's going to need to go to hospital anyway, because we would say that his mental status isn't right.
He could go into a VT.
It's very, very sedating, and they can start having hallucinations and delusions as well.
Yeah, I do have to ask the question, don't have any history of suicidal tendencies?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And not feeling any of that tonight?
Right.
You just were really struggling to...
Struggling to sleep.
The medics decide a frontline ambulance should take the sleeping pill man to hospital where he can be monitored. Meanwhile, in the next door ambulance, Isabel is sobering up, and the female passerby is asked to leave.
Leave?
Yeah.
Like, for the...
Yeah, that's what she wants.
Good luck. Thank you.
Alright, the 100% honest truth. I'm ready to hear it.
You comfortable to go home with them?
Very.
Okay, so you're not concerned about your safety or anything else?
Baby,
Is that like a blood test?
Yeah.
So you can see if there's any other...
Oh, we're just seeing what her blood sugars are. They're 4.7.
Can you see if there's any drugs in her system?
No, we can't do that. Do you think there could be drugs in her system?
No, she was in the bathroom with the girl.
That's new information. What are we doing in the bathroom?
Nothing.
With the increasingly sober Isabel wanting to go home with her boyfriend, the medics decide to drop them off on their way home.
Just within the last hour, it's just all of a sudden come to a stop. So yeah, it's been pretty full on tonight.
Busy night, guys?
It's been the night from hell, really.
It was pretty full on.
Absolutely. Walked in and a good 3 patients being attended.
It's just been one of those nights. A good night, but a rough night.
I'm looking forward to a good sleep. That's what I'm looking forward to.
For the student medics especially, it's been a long and challenging night, but they got through it with compassion, perseverance and teamwork. All qualities they'll need in bucket loads as fully fledged paramedics.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.